What's up, guys? This is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about INFJs and procrastination. See, procrastination is not something that is only typical for INFJs. All types have problems with this. Procrastination is a global problem, so to say, but there are very specific reasons why INFJs specifically procrastinate. And I think once we realize what these reasons are, we analyze them, and there are certain shortcuts you can take in order to move further than that, like to actually overcome procrastination and to always keep on pushing yourself into a way that doesn't feel like it's hard work. See, the whole problem with procrastination is that you feel, well, I know I should be doing this, but I don't know why I'm not doing this. And this is something that is so common. We see so many people, all together. There are people who just keep busy with all other things. There are other people who just ignore their problems and just do, as I said, binge watching and so on. But procrastination is not something that feels good. That's just it. You can't just tell yourself, well, why should I be doing this? Why can't I just say, well, I don't care, my life is good as it is? Because our mind, or the human experience, is not meant to be stagnating, right? I mean, there are so many people who say, well, you have to also accept where you are and enjoy the moment, and it can't be always about the fight. No, it's not about the fight. It's about saying that I want to do something, which is pretty much your, introvert intuition having a thought of this is how I want it to be, and then doing the steps to actually getting there. And it's a combination of everything, because if I sit down and I said, well, I would imagine that I would write a book, and I imagine this as my image right now. I think in a year, I'm going to get up and I'm going to look at Amazon and there's my book, right? And you think this is still not enough motivation. So there are more reasons why this is not happening. Mainly because you're not attaching the emotion that you could actually feel once you're there, which is pride, for example, which is to say, well, I'm not doing that because my life is going to be so much better once I have a book on Amazon. I'm doing that because I'm going to feel so much better when I know I'm a person who keeps the promises I make to myself. And that's where the whole procrastination thing comes into place. Why are you actually procrastinating? And the main reason is because you cannot feel what that new reality would mean to you, how it would feel. You're not aware of everything that's going on right now, and therefore you can't really push yourself in a way of how is this new reality going to feel. Because even if you're really good at introvert intuition, right? And you have this image of, okay, I imagine how I'm proud because I've written that book. That's a feeling you have at that moment. But right now, you have that feeling also. Right now, you have that feeling that you've already written the book. And that's the catch-22, so to say, because you already feel that. You don't know how it's going to feel in a year when you actually wrote the book and it's on Amazon. What you feel right now is how you feel at this moment, today, if you would have written that book, if you would write it in a year. Those are two different thoughts. So how can you get yourself to distinguish between, oh, that's just me imagining how great that would be, and to actually think, how is it really going to feel? Because those are really different aspects. So I have had situations where I thought, oh, if I would, find that great job, this is how I would feel. And then I found that great job, and even if it was a great job, it still felt differently than what I thought it's going to feel. And I mean, you've seen it in the introverted intuition video, how important it is to, set those goals and to set those imaginations. But in order for us to get there, there's one thing we have to do. And it's kind of like a shortcut, so to say. I figured that out for me, and it helped me so much. And for me, the solution is actually extroverted thinking. Surprise here? Yeah, it was a surprise for me too, but that was actually, I think, me hitting myself, so to say, with extroverted thinking before I started the channel, before I started the entire movement of, okay, let me help INFJs get to a better state, because I needed that help back then and nobody helped me, and I thought, I can't, this is not what I want other people to go through. It was extroverted thinking that got me there. And extroverted thinking pretty much says, look around you and see what is actually happening right now. There's so many people who are into personal development and who say, ignore what's happening now, ignore it completely and go up there and have your imagination. Very well, okay? But there's always, like most types, they do have extroverted thinking. So even if you ignore it, there is still a part that keeps you in the now, so you can actually see and feel the difference between what it is right now and where you want to go. So even if I want to write a book, let's just take this example. I want to write a book. I want to feel proud about myself. I want to be an author. Those are all things that matter to me. And it feels good when I think about it, right? But extroverted thinking tells me the following situation. You live in, let's say, the basement, or you live in, you live with 3 people and nobody actually is aware of what you have accomplished. Nobody's aware of like your intellect or your ideas, because no matter what you've thought of, the reality is you have a minimum wage job, or you having you haven't really done anything that made other people, and not even people, but that would look from the outside like this is who you are. So everything that you want to be is just in your head. So in order to say I want to feel like I have written that book, is to actually think about, well, how is my environment going to change once I've written that book? How is that different than now? And that's actually when you start integrating other people into your world. And I call it, for me, that's in extroverted thinking. But altogether, it's the best way to start building on yourself. It's never that you say, well, why do you care about other people? What other people think doesn't matter. True. But think about it like this. Up until this point, you've lived in other people's movies. You've lived in other people's lives. You've played a part in their life. And, from their perspective, you've done it anyways, right? You've thought okay, I'm acting a certain way with my coworkers, so they have a certain image of me. I'm acting a certain way with my mom, so she has a certain image of me. And the moment you start integrating people into your world, that's when you start growing. So you say, I do something and I surround myself with people who give me the same feeling I want to feel. So the difference between you having written that book and you thinking of having written that book is that your environment will give you feedback for that. So how will your life be different? How will you feel different once you know that, your parents know that you've written your book? When there are people who have written the book and not written, when people have read your book and write you and say, thank you so much, this helped me so much, or that inspired me, what a great book. Or you have people who say, well, I didn't know that she was or he is so, that they say they're gonna do this and they actually did it. Wow, that's somebody who stuck to their word. See, all of those points are, a testament to how different it is than us right now thinking of we have written the book and us actually really having written that book. Because the environment will change. The people you surround yourself will change. So what I probably would have never thought about, and not only probably I really didn't think about, is that once I quit my job, I will not have people around me who give me the impression of, you don't belong here, or, I don't think you're that smart, or, what does she know about? While I was working, and it was a great job, I'm thankful, and I always recommend this to everybody, be grateful for every little step that you've been at, for every plateau you've reached, for every new high. Because if I didn't have that job, I wouldn't have been able to learn so much to be where I'm at today. It helped me to realize what matters to me. If I wouldn't have taken that leap from my my second last job to the last job, which was a huge jump in, salary, workload, just impact altogether. If I wouldn't have made that jump, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today. So I'm thankful for every little thing. But back then I didn't think of, okay, once I do my, I do my channel, I do this, I didn't really think through, how would my environment react? And my environment would react that everybody that was at work, those people don't exist in my life anymore. So the only feedback I get is for people who actually know what I'm doing, or are like people who have absolutely nothing to do with my work, so to say. So people at, my family, my friends, things like this, of this nature. I don't have this constant feedback of people underestimating me in a very specific field, right? And I only was able to do that because I made that choice and I changed that. I mean, I personally, I use that to an extent to like tell myself, okay, this is the extroverted thinking, what's going on. Because specifically, I had people at my job who were all about extroverted thinking, right? There were a lot of ESTJs and people, like, it was a very logical place. And from their point of view, or from like, where I'm at, I wasn't really living out my potential at all. Like everything that I thought, all my ideas, everything that I do here and how I help people, I couldn't really use that to such an extent at my work. It's just not the right place for it. And the moment I said, I don't need to be here, goodbye, I'm taking a leap and I'm doing something that I want to do, where I actually get the feedback that empowers me to keep on doing who I want to be, instead of an environment which has no understanding for it, doesn't encourage me to do it. So I was always like fighting against the feedback. And you want to get into a situation where the feedback is encouraging you to be more and more of who you are. But if I wouldn't have made the the thing that, okay, it's going to be different. What's really going to be different? Not just me imagining, I'm being like a life coach and, I'm doing this full time and so on. But to actually think, well, how is my extroverted thinking environment going to be different? We ignore that. We ignore extroverted thinking. That's why it's such a problem. But if you sit down and say, well, how will that change? And then include that into your vision, that's when you get like really the fun stuff. So nowadays, I can't just tell myself all the time, and this is what I know, like if I don't think about it, I think of, this is going so great, it's growing, I'm meeting more people, I want to go on vacation. Like I think of all of those things. But if I don't think, well, okay, what is my extroverted thinking reality right now? As in, okay, how much money are you actually making with this? Is this something that you're satisfied with? Are you going on vacation right now every third week and feel great about it? Like, I don't need to be going on vacation 3 weeks, but you know what I mean. Like, what is actually happening from an extroverted thinking standpoint? And it's a feeling and a direction I do not want to look at. I never want to look at that direction, ever. But I push myself to do it because I know every time I do it, I reach a new height I've never reached before. And as I said in the beginning, before I started this channel, there was just so much going on in my life, and like where I needed to cut off like the whole, let's say, introverted intuition thing of what I thought like life should be and who I was with, and to actually be aware of, well, I want all of those things, but what is actually my current reality? Where has my intuition and everything I've been doing gotten me so far, right? Because the extroverted intuition kind of thing, it's not extroverted intuition, the extroverted thinking, it's not kind of only saying, how do I feel about this? But also, how does this, what is the feedback I get from my environment? That's the whole TE, having a thinking that people can, how do you say, like they have the same opinion about something, or they say, well, this works. So for example, it's an extrovert intuition kind of thing that I'm doing a channel. This is what I'm doing. I'm a life coach. I've changed my job. Those are facts. Those are like TE facts, right? An introverted, like what is not extroverted thinking, is me feeling like, yeah, I've made it, or me thinking like I'm a total failure. Like whatever I would think, that's like my introverted thought. But those things that are not, deniable from this extrovert thinking point of view, they can, like, I will take these into consideration of where I want to go, and into my imagination and into the vision for the next thing. And it does not mean that, it does not mean that you care about what other people think, because I'm pretty sure the people at my last job, like I think 99.9% of those people don't think of me at all, because I know that everybody's just focused with themselves. But even if they would think about me, Yeah, maybe some of them would think, oh, that's so brave of her to do this. But I'm pretty sure there are enough people who would think, yeah, she just couldn't handle it, what we're doing here. And in comparison to what matters to us, like, she's just a failure. That's not what I call extroverted thinking. Because, extroverted thinking is pretty much like there doesn't have to be a judgment about it. You can decide what kind of judgment you're going to put on it. But the fact is that, let's say you were taking back that example with the writing the book. The extroverted thinking is you haven't written the book. You haven't done the work yet. It doesn't matter if you have those great ideas of writing that book right now. You're not a writer. You're not an author. You're not a published author. You haven't completed that book. The moment you have completed that book, that's something that cannot be taken away. That's an extroverted thinking point. And as I said, not very natural to us, but if you do that, if you think of, okay, well, this is where I want to go, and this is who I am right now, not how I feel, but actually from the points that nobody could deny. And then what kind of points do I have to have in my life that nobody can deny that would make me feel like this vision? And then you have a difference between me being right now and feeling all content because I have this idea of writing the book, and me actually imagining how I'm actually gonna feel like once that book is written and my environment is giving me the feedback. So some people are just stuck. For example, let's say you imagine you've written the book and you're a published author and you're successful with that. That means you don't have to go to work anymore. So what the people in your work think about it doesn't really matter in that new imagination. You can think of, okay, they're gonna for a moment think, oh, okay, that's what she's doing. But in the end, those are not gonna be the people in your life. But you're gonna be surrounded by people who tell you, thank you for your book, this inspires me so much. You see how many people love your vision, whatever it is. And that's how you can use extroverted thinking to get you out of procrastination. See, this is the whole thing. We have to have a reason to think, how is my life going to change? How is it going to feel better once I'm there? And the problem with this is we believe we have an image of this, how our life should look like. And it's not the same how it's really going to look like once you take in the extroverted thinking, feedback. And once you have that, then you really feel the difference between where you want to go and where you're now. And then you have the motivation. So for example, let's say one of your family members would really need your help and would need for you to take on a second job that you're going to do on weekends, and you have to do it for a month. But that will really make their life so much better. I'm pretty sure a lot of us would do that. But when it comes to us, yeah, what's the big difference? Why should I do that? That's not motivation for me to change that. It's because we cannot imagine how this is going to feel. Take an extroverted thinking information, take it into your vision. How is that going to feel? What really extroverted thinking things would have been done here that cannot be taken away or argued away. And I'm pretty sure you'll have enough motivation to really go about your tasks. I really hope that helped you. This has been a huge step for me. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and comment below what you think about it. And if you want me to help you personally to create the next step and to reach new heights, check out the link on one-on-one coaching in the description. I wish you a great day, guys, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.